Hello everyone, welcome to EPG Pathashala. I am Dr. Vinuta, scientist at Division of Biochemistry, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, that is IARI, New Delhi, India. Today I am going to talk about historical properties and remarkable properties of enzymes. We will be going to explore an enzyme and understanding the discovery and history of enzymes, properties of enzymes, factors that influence enzyme activity, importance and application of enzymes. Under this module, we are going to see discovery and historical aspects of enzymes, properties of enzymes like its active sites and factors influencing the enzyme activity. In this module, we are also going to touch upon enzyme inhibitions and different types of enzyme inhibitions. And also we are dealing with isozymes and importance and application of enzymes in various fields. As you all know that all enzymes are proteins which acts as biological catalyst. They are produced by the living cells and catalyze the rate of biochemical reactions occurring in various vital life processes inside the cells. The enzymes during biocatalysis themselves do not undergo any chemical change but are regenerated as it is at the end of the reaction. The substances on which the enzymes act to yield products are called as substrates. The general enzyme catalyzed reaction is represented as the equation where E stands for enzyme, S for the substrate and ES indicates enzyme substrate complex, P stands for the product. Most of the enzymes that are synthesized within the cells are intracellular or endozymes. Some enzymes are secreted from the cells into the environment and they function in extracellular regions. These are extracellular or exoenzymes. Let us see the discovery and history of enzymes. French chemist Anselme Payen was the first to discover an enzyme. In 1833, Payen and Persoz found that an alcohol precipitate of a malt extract contained a substance that converted starch into sugar. They for the first time recognized it as an enzyme and named it as diastase. The term enzyme was coined in 1878 by W. F. Kuhn. Few decades later, Louis Pasteur suggested that this fermentation was carried out by a force called ferments within the yeast cell and which work properly only within living organisms. Liebig thought that fermentation enzymes were chemical substances found in yeast, whereas Pasteur believed that the process of fermentation could not be separated from the living cell. Kuhn did not favor either of the hypotheses. The controversy continued until the fermentation system was isolated in a cell-free extract. Edward Buchner found that sugar could be fermented by yeast extract even in the absence of living yeast cells in the mixture. He named the substance responsible for fermentation of sucrose as zymase. Let us see the enzymatic properties. All enzymes are proteins. Enzymes have molecular weight ranging from 20,000 to 1 million. While some enzymes are simple proteins consisting of only amino acids, some are conjugated proteins consist of amino acids along with a non-protein component. This non-protein part of a conjugated protein is called as a coenzyme or prosthetic group, while the protein part is called as an apoenzyme. In the absence of the coenzyme, the enzyme will be inactive. Coenzyme and the apoenzyme together form a complex called as a holoenzyme. So now we will see what is active site of an enzyme. An active site is that part of an enzyme that directly binds to a substrate and carries a reaction. Particular amino acid residues present in the active sites that leads to catalytic action and promotes the formation or degradation of bonds. These are called as catalytic or active amino acids or catalytic residues. Let us see what are all the factors that influence enzyme activity. Enzyme activity is influenced by several factors such as pH, temperature, substrate concentration, metal ions, inhibitors and enzyme concentration. Let us see the effect of pH on enzyme activity. Each enzyme has a particular pH where its activity is maximum. This pH is known as optimal pH. Effect of temperature on enzyme activity. Each enzyme also has a particular temperature at which the activity is maximum. This temperature is often referred to as optimum temperature. The optimum temperature for most of the enzymes is found to be 37 degree. Next we will see the effect of concentration of the substrate on enzyme activity. The rate of reaction increases proportionally with increase in the concentration of a substrate. At a particular substrate concentration, all active sites are saturated with substrate molecules. Further increase in the concentration of substrate therefore does not lead to any increase in the reaction rate. Next we will see the effect of concentration of the enzyme on enzyme activity. Rate of an enzyme catalyzed reaction is directly proportional to the concentration of the enzyme. At a fixed substrate concentration, all the substrate molecules are utilized completely. Even as the enzyme concentration is increased, there is no change in the reaction rate. Let us see the effect of activators. Enzymes which requires metal ions for their activity or enzymes which contain metal ions in their structure are therefore known as metalloenzymes. Metal ions can be divalent like magnesium, copper, manganese, zinc, or monovalent such as sodium and potassium ions. Chloride ions are required for activity by amylases and zinc ions are required by carbonic anhydrases for them to be catalytically active. Next we will see the effect of inhibitors on enzyme activity. Chemical substances that decrease the activity of enzymes are called as inhibitors. This process by which an enzymatic function is inhibited is termed as enzyme inhibition. Enzyme inhibitors can be small inorganic ions such as cyanide or complex molecules such as diisopropyl phosphofluoridate. Cyanide ions which inhibit the enzyme cytochrome oxidase while diisopropyl phosphofluoridate inhibit acetylcholine esterase enzyme. Now we will see the types of enzyme inhibitions. There are different types of enzyme inhibitions. The first one is competitive inhibition, second uncompetitive inhibition, third non-competitive inhibition and fourth allosteric inhibition. Now we will see what is competitive inhibition. The structure of inhibitor resembles that of a substrate. The inhibitor molecule competes with the substrate for binding at the active site. When the concentration of the inhibitor is very high, it can displace the substrate entirely and prevent the enzyme from acting on the substrate, thereby blocking the reaction. Competitive inhibition can be reversed by increasing the concentration of the substrate. Now we will see the uncompetitive inhibition. The inhibitor combines with the enzyme substrate complex. An inactivated enzyme substrate inhibitor complex is obtained instead of the enzyme substrate complex. The reaction therefore cannot proceed further to yield the products. Now we will see what is non-competitive inhibition. The non-competitive inhibitor binds to a site other than the active site on the enzyme. The binding deforms the enzyme such that formation of the ES complex is prohibited. Thus, the reaction cannot proceed further to yield products. Non-competitive inhibition is irreversible, that is, non-competitive inhibition cannot be reversed by increasing the concentration of the substrate. Now we will see what is allosteric inhibition. The inhibitor binds with the allosteric site of the enzyme. This binding may affect the conformation at the active site. The change in the active site conformation therefore restrict the enzyme from binding to any substrate molecule. Allosteric inhibition is seen in multi-step reactions. Now we will see what is feedback inhibition. When the concentration of product increases, it acts as an inhibitor to the enzyme A, which was catalyzed the first step in the reaction. Product binds with the enzyme A to inhibit it. The enzyme A, which can therefore be inhibited by the end product, is known as allosteric enzyme, and therefore the production of P is stopped. The inhibition is known as feedback inhibition. Now we will see what are isozymes. These are some of the enzymes that may exist in 2 or more forms. While these may differ in terms of physical, chemical as well as electrophoretic attributes, they have the same catalytic activity. Examples of isozymes are lactate dehydrogenase, which can exist in 5 different isoenzymatic forms and catalyze the same reaction of conversion of lactate to pyruvate. This table explains the importance and applications of enzymes. To summarize, in this module, we have studied historical aspects of enzymes and its discovery, applications of enzymes in various fields and its importance for the benefit of mankind. We have also learnt different types of inhibitions and also learnt about isozymes. Thank you.